looked very good on it just yesterday, had a pretty impressive performance, so looks like that's going to be snapped up right away. No surprise there.
What is the answer? Because we saw...
not Rise!
Yeah, we saw the attempt at Rise. Did not work out at all. River visiting that top lane a whole bunch and just getting Licorice set up to carry the game. I also think like yesterday, River really read his opponents well, was absolutely ahead of the curve in every single play. JunJia going to have a task ahead of him.
There's no shot.
There's a shot, right?
No. To blind pick an Aurelia this early in the draft would be an incredibly confident play. I'm surprised that PSG are immediately responding with a top laner. You would expect jungle and AD carry to come in here based on typical draft trends for red side. Something like the Zeri or the Jinx would have made a lot of sense. The fact that they are still leaving junglers up, I do think that Wukong, after the nerfs, I feel has a significantly less impact than what we've been seeing compared to the previous patches, and it seems that teams are much less willing to blind pick it compared to what we've seen in previous patches and domestically.
Well, wasn't Wukong or the Jinx locked in fact, swapped to the Ezreal. I think that's the first time that we've seen here at MSI. Interesting note, by the way, Wako's got 0 games on Jinx this entire year, so hasn't pulled it out just yet, and River's going to go back to the Viego, 3rd time here. But I think a lot of power picks on the side of Golden Guardian, so I'm already starting to see or feel a little bit like every time I've seen this happen, the picks that have the Ahri and the Kennen tend to do pretty well.
Yeah, already Golden Guardians grabbing a lot of the power picks they were able to grab yesterday. This time the Viego for River. Obviously, they love playing Gori River 2v2s around mid lane. This is another powerful one that will be looking to make plays, move all over the map. In a lot of ways there, the engine combined with Huhi for Golden Guardians to make plays in the early game.
PSG have drafted themselves a pretty powerful pushing bot side. I did a bit of research very quickly and found out that Wako, all-time, Ezreal is one of his most played champions, 70% win rate across his entire career with 30 games played. So it seems like in game 1, he's going back to comfort, something that gives him a lot of security. And I think Ezreal Karma is a very safe bot side, typically more towards the weak side, and when you draft the Ksante, it does make you think, well, what is PSG's game plan in the early game? Where is it exactly that they're going to look to try and play around and try and find advantages?
And this is one of the things that has been the question for PSG across this tournament is, can they take their kind of late game, less aggressive play style through this early game phase against the more powerful teams? You saw it not go very well up against G2. They kind of got ran over. Can Golden Guardians do the same thing and just make this game over before all this scaling and team fighting kind of comes online, or they're starting that from too big of a deficit?
I mean, both of these teams have had some pretty dominant wins over the last couple of days, and I think interestingly for like PSG, it's a little bit different, a little bit more impressive than what they did domestically. They're at 14 stats, so doing like plus 800 or so. And I think I genuinely don't know what to anticipate on how these teams are going to stack up against one another, because like especially even yesterday, it was very heavily one-sided for both squads.
I think that game yesterday gave me a lot more confidence for PSG in this matchup. Their first day against DFM was, you know, they had that game that they probably should have lost. Then they kind of got ran over by G2 a little bit. Wako did have some good performances in that G2 series, but he was kind of the only one. But yesterday it was very, very dominant for this team. It made me feel like this would be a much closer matchup. Hopefully we get to see all 5 games. I say that through gritted teeth as a North American fan, but as a general League of Legends fan, hopefully we see a good series.
RS and Nautilus being taken off the board here. I wonder what bot lane Golden Guardians will be considering. You're a resident Golden Guardian expert, Mark. When you look at this draft, what do you think Stixxay is thinking about right now? Tristana maybe? Or
they got rid of a lot of the common things you tend to see, and from here, Ezreal Karma wins a lot of them. They could go Zeri Rakan, they could go Xayah Rakan, they could go Thresh Jinx. Kaisa Sett was not on the list of things I was going to say, but let's do it.
All right, Golden Guardians bringing out a very heavy dive composition here. Sett being one of your primary initiators. Kennen with a great follow-up, assuming he can find a good flank. But basically, all of these champions want to go forward.
I love this. Golden Guardians laying down the gauntlet game 1, saying, you want to play this kind of at-range, pokey bot lane. Instead of finding a similar range-style matchup, we're going to go engage and hopefully get our mid-jungle making plays around the bot lane to attack Wako.
Last lock-in here for JunJia as the Kha'Zix. So, first time that we're seeing the Kaisa, first time we're seeing the Ezreal. 2 compositions that look very aggressive, but I feel like there's a little bit more cohesion in what I'm seeing on the Golden Guardians side, pick power on the side of PSG. I mean, when you zoom out, Vedi, what do you make of this?
I mean, I think that PSG's early game is very weak. Early game skirmishes are not going to go in their favor, which does concern me when we look at how well Golden Guardians have been able to get early game leads when they're given the priority to do so. Huhi is not afraid to get out on the map. We know that River is more than happy to look for invades, and Gori, with his prio, is more than happy to roam bot and set up some dives. So I think the Golden Guardians have all of the agency to make things happen in the early game. The later the game goes, it does make me wonder how much of a range advantage PSG have over Golden Guardians.
The one thing I will say is JunJia on the Kha'Zix. This is probably, outside Wako, the best performing member. The EDG sub-jungler stepping up.
Early game, and whether or not PSG will be able to sort of weather the storm in some ways. So let's keep our eyes on River. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome to Summoner's Rift for Game 1 in this best of 5, the last chance qualifier to the bracket stage. Win, and you join the 7 other teams.
The first best of 5 at MSI, but the final matchup of the play-in stage. Last spot on the line to join the main stage. Draw after this series happens.
I'm excited to see how the rest of MSI plays out. I think play-ins have been very exciting overall. For it to culminate in Golden Guardians versus PSG, I think very much what many expected throughout the play-in stage. I think the big surprises were Golden Guardians taking what was a massive comeback victory over BLG. A lot of people now have, I think, a very different opinion of Golden Guardians as the underdogs. They continue to surprise throughout the year. Perhaps PSG can put a stop to it today.
I like the Golden Guardians' evolution on the emote game yesterday, knowing that Loud was playing the second series. They kind of pandered to the audience, flashed a lot of Loud emotes. This time around, River going for the TSM flare. Don't know how popular that still is. I heard a TSM chant, I think on day 1 or day 2. I hear a little bit from the crowd right now, so sounds like still something to use.
I love the performance. Why not? Have some fun in the game as well. In your opponent's head, just a tiny bit. No real shenanigans to start off the game. Look, River starting bottom quadrant, JunJia starting on that top quadrant with Azhi helping him out. And first Ezreal, first Karma here at MSI. I think on day 1 on the analyst desk, we were talking a little bit about potentially seeing Ezreal, but some of those more like team fight focused ADCs have taken to higher priority. And also first Kaisa too. So this will be a fun lane because it's definitely not something you see very often.
I mean, in Europe, we've had the luxury of getting to see a couple of Ezreals. We know how obnoxious they can be in the late game team fights, right? But in early laning phase, typically it can be difficult for Ez to get that prio in lane, but when paired up with a Karma, you have that double range matchup, so much poke, and you're seeing the poke on your screen right now. The level 2 coming out for Wako and Woody. Great damage from PSG. But the Fog of War Observer's highlighting it for us. River is in a position to gank. Huhi has the flash, he just needs level 2. He should get it off this melee. Oh, no, one more minion.
Minion wave being cleared out there. There's the engage from Huhi. Woody's still got that flash available. Stixxay stepping forward, cleansed out. The breaker forward. River is being chunked out from Wako. Wako now may be the next target. Stun connects. First blood secured by Golden Guardians and River. The shield keeps River alive just enough to get away.
Massive first blood there by River, sort of in reaction to the push that was coming from PSG's bot lane, but probably also a pre-planned play. This is something River has done a ton in the LCS, not as much here on the MSI stage, is going for very different jungle clears to find people at different timing windows. He's a monster at this on Jarvan in particular, but willing to do it, as you can see, on multiple champions. I thought for sure he was going to be clearing topside to your power point on the map on Kennen, but this shove that Ezreal Karma is always going to go for early on, knowing that they're going to push up this far, there's no way Sett and Kaisa can contest the level 1 push, so they just go exactly on level 2. River has hit level 3 in this chase down sequence. The patience getting pelted by Ezreal and the minions the entire time. Karma as well gets very low, but commits, lands that W critically, finding that kill, and then using the Karma Soul shield to make sure he gets out of there alive.
So well done. So first blood secured and in the hands of the Viego. A little bit of a presence there from JunJia, but Gori easily evades.
I will also say, PSG's bot lane really should have just used one of their wards. Both AD carry and support had it available. Trying to set up that early push without taking into consideration a potential early gank. A big oversight, I think, from them. And losing all of those summoner spells now sets up GG very nicely for potential future ganks. They know that Aja is a very difficult lane to play around. Playing Ksante into Kennen, they can just leave Licorice isolated in this 1v1. He can build his own advantages, and Gori already looking to gain control over the lane. Does miss the charm. Could be an opportunity for a re-engage here from ubao.
Really good counter trade there. Gori ends up losing a little bit more of his HP. We saw Huhi stepping just behind that mid turret, by the way, drop that control ward. So it'll give him a little bit of vision as Licorice continues to pressure. So pretty much the top lane playing out as expected. We'll keep an eye on whether that manages to develop in a way that Licorice can take over the game the way that he did previously. But for Gori, just continuing to see, I mean, look at this, trying to push ubao all the way between the minions.
He is a very aggressive mid laner, always trying to find advantageous trades. And I assume also wanting to get the shove so he can start meeting up with River now that he has completed his first kind of official clear, finally grabbing all that in the top side.
Yeah, if you look underneath his champion icon, you'll see that little pink bar. That indicates how close he is to level 6. And he should just, oh, okay, he's about a minion short of level 6, which would have been a great opportunity for him to then look for a roam. Vision now investing in the bot side, River for PSG, to track whether Gori and River could be looking for a gank.
Beautiful charm. Just a little bit more poke from that Orb of Deception and gonna step back. Pretty even CS numbers across the top and mid lane. Small advantage to Wako in the bottom lane, and we're still waiting to see JunJia really show a little bit more presence. He's level 5 at the moment, small advantage over River. And once he does unlock that ultimate, he can look for some more picks, but hasn't yet found the opportunity.
Yeah, PSG kind of learning their lessons from that first play, getting a lot of wards out around the bot side, a pink ward in River, a normal one in the tri-brush there to make sure that they are safe to push. This is how Ezreal and Karma have to play the lane, so despite the fact that they did give up that first blood, they've reasserted dominance of that lane. Funky look there for a second, but yeah, playing around their kind of power point, make sure that they don't continue to fall behind, that there's no repeat gank follow-up until these flashes come back available. Not too far off now for Woody.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Guardians, they don't really need to force anything super urgently. They still have time. Level 6 is really where you'll be keeping your eyes on any opportunities. Good window here being found by PSG. They expect River to be on the top side of the map, but they know that Gori has just gone back to base with no TP. So with the push that they have in bot lane as well, should be an easy drag and secure very early on. We know that PSG is a slightly slower team when it comes to the early game, but starting to stack up these dragons really sets you up for success to get you those team fights later on in the mid and late game.
I mean, Woody and Wako are doing such a great job with that ranged poke. Every single time we look at Stixxay and Huhi, they're chunked out, they're pushed back. They're doing a relatively good job of maintaining a competitive CS advantage or CS numbers. But that's definitely unlocked that first dragon. And I think for PSG now, going to continue to look for those little skirmishes. I mean, this is the first time that we've seen these teams obviously against one another. 6-4 LCS versus PCS. And I genuinely think both of these teams just playing a little bit reserved, a little bit patient, suss one another out.
Yeah,
haven't had the strongest competition just yet, you know?
No, but very touch and go. I think you saw there's a potential for a bot side dive after the dragon dropped and Stixxay was backing off that turret. PSG instead go for a reset during the time. River was working down a lot of focus on the top side, stealing away the red buff for that commitment, as well as getting some deep wards down there.
You'll notice now Woody going back to base with the Herald spawning in about 20 seconds time. Wouldn't be surprised to see him now getting out on the map and start leveraging PSG's number advantage, because Huhi's not going to have that opportunity to go back to base yet. And already, if you look at the base, you can see Woody making his way down towards mid. ubao going back to base now, though, does give Golden Guardians this window to set up vision control around the Herald.
I do wonder if Golden Guardians want to fight the Herald. They're much more of a level 6 reliant team, especially with their bot lane and the way that wants to play. And if Huhi can't get 6 prior to moving up to the top side of the map, then it will feel like a difficult fight compared to Ezreal and Karma, who are very happy to just pelt away with Qs.
Now, Woody after that back. Pokes a little bit in middle lane. You can see on bottom, finally Stixxay and Huhi shoved away, but that back timer from Stixxay from the potential dive you're talking about, Mark, ended up giving Wako a pretty significant CS advantage, and despite PSG,
well, they're just conceding
backing, yeah. Golden Guardians in the river, they're going to stop this one off. It's completely uncontested, Eddie.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised. I would have thought the PSG, given their setup, they had the numbers advantage, want to force this, but I guess they're a little concerned about Licorice's power at this point in the game. They know that Gori just had a base as well. Stixxay coming off the back of a base would have been able to collapse first, as Wako had to go and catch the bot wave. So everything will reset. Golden Guardians with a small advantage gain.
Yeah, the Wako being committed to the bot side there makes sense. There's a very big wave. Don't want to lose that one, having to move up to the top side. And once Golden Guardians see him there, Stixxay and Huhi shadow into the river without having to roam all the way up. Get a Rift Herald here, and we'll want to see where Golden Guardians use this one. Obviously, it'd be very nice to accelerate your Kaisa. She's basically your biggest late game threat, but I do think there's value in breaking open mid lane turret, trying to make a play around there, and then moving down to bot side. Mid lane has so much pressure over the rest of the map, and so if you can kind of spring Gori free, that's probably going to accelerate your game faster than just getting some extra gold or plates into the pockets of Kaisa.
Stepping towards that mid lane, JunJia towards bottom. Neither opponent's aware for the time being, and both teams just trying to fish for opportunities, but that's the defensive starts here. Now River moving towards the bottom lane. Recall does in fact complete. That's level 7. for the Viego. Huhi is going to force the flash from Woody. That's a win already. And that means repeat gank the next few minutes. Definitely a target.
Yeah, JunJia had the right idea, kind of hovering that brush, but didn't wait out the entire play. Recalls, and that's basically the exact window that Huhi goes flash for flash there.
So team fight at Dragon, is that what we're setting up for here?
I hope so.
At this pace,
so.
basically?
I was kind of expecting Golden Guardians to be a little bit more aggressive, to be honest. I thought that they would try and threaten a few more dives, but to PSG's credit, they've done a great job of just keeping the push in bot. It has made it hard to really stack up a wave and threaten any real dive bot. And then also there's been so much vision investment on the bot side. You can see our observers highlighting it now. PSG have a lot of vision control that make it that much harder for River and Gori to really find any opportunities, which means that we do need that neutral objective to really start these fights.
I mean, last time we saw this Kha'Zix, Yike was able to create opportunities or punish the top lane, synchronize up with the rest of G2 and have dive after dive. The game hasn't necessarily been played out that way, and JunJia's just power farming for now. Same level as River, not a significant advantage. Does this make you a little nervous with this Kha'Zix, or is it still, he's just ramping up?
I think he's ramping up. Kha'Zix is obviously a champion who, at level 6 onwards, has very good skirmishing potential, but he does continue to scale throughout the game as you unlock more evolutions. When you finally get the resets and team fights, you can start taking those over. As we see that Rip Trail mid, like we were calling for.
Potentially setting up for Dragon. There's a couple of wards placed inside PSG's jungle. Teleport's not available for Licorice. It is for Azhi, who's now being poked out just a little bit. 20 seconds until that Cloud Drake will spawn. I want to see whether either team will kind of rush for it or not. Good counter vision now for what's been cleared out by PSG, and I think they're setting this one up. Moving into the river together, pushing that mid lane. Let's hope we get this first big team fight.
Pretty sure Wako just snipes Stixxay on the back to stop his recall and delay the timer for picking up his mythic. Does end up getting the Kraken Slayer, but might be a little slow getting back to Dragon. So PSG is going to start this one off, kind of knowing that they had interrupted Stixxay's recall, and he can't possibly be here if they rush it.
Ooh, ubao.
A little bit of trouble, caught out, Heartbreaker used. Frozen Tomb to buy some time. Dragon has been secured by PSG, and the charm right out of it from Gori secures the kill. So that's the second for Golden Guardians. Not a large minion wave to work with, and the stolen soul of Lissandra won't find that Ring of Frost. 2 dragons to PSG, 2 kills to Golden Guardian.
Frankly, just a massive overstep from ubao. Like, he was trying to interrupt the back of Gori there and disrespecting the possibility that River may be hovering around mid. Ends up giving away a free kill that I think they really didn't need to give.
Especially given the context that you know you're getting a free dragon. Like, the jungler's not hovering around the dragon. Maybe he's over the wall looking for a steal, but they had good vision to know that was not the case. Big mistake there by ubao, handing a kill over to Gori, continuing to accelerate that lead. Now up about 700 gold for Gori. I will say this
immediately picked up as well.
Yeah, huge power spike. I will say for PSG, the saving grace is the dragon stacking. This is something that they love to do, and the overall pace of play has not been that high.
No, I mean, look, it's 2,000 gold here for Golden Guardians, and in the BO5, the final series before bracket stage, this is a little bit more reminiscent of what you see in BO5s that MSI and Worlds of years gone by. It's slow, it's tentative, it's a little bit more pensive. And in comparison to a lot of the series we've been seeing throughout the last few days, it is definitely a few paces down.
Well, like we said, PSG is the lowest combined kills per minute team in the entire tournament, so it's no surprise to see them taking it slow. Even their series yesterday was kind of like that.
Right now, JunJia will get chunked out just a little. River's Heartbreaker is available to him. ubao was moving from the mid lane, but again, no further engage. There wasn't enough support for River, so they just did a little damage and backed away.
And again, PSG just doing a great job when it comes to this vision control. They have wards littered around the bot side of the map. They have so much control, so much safety, so much security that they allow Wako and Woody to just continue to secure these plates and build advantages in the bot lane 2v2.
Right, exactly. Despite that kind of first blood that came in down there, it is still a pretty hefty gold lead, up above 700 now for Wako. Going to get a little bit bigger once he finally drops the first third of the game in favor of PSG.
So super quickly, this is a slightly slower paced game. Log in with your account and watch MSI and lolesports.com for exclusive MSI drops such as emotes and icons throughout the entire tournament. And since we are at 14 minutes and pretty much dead even as far as the lanes, the towers, a minor gold advantage here for Golden Guardians, we may be setting ourselves up for a 3rd or 4th dragon, just gigantic team fights. And I think in my head, that Kennen could be absolutely gigantic. And whether or not JunJia and Wako can get away from it and find those picks in the back line.
Yeah, this whole time I've been talking about bot and top and mid and all these things. We
gold up.
Did not cover how far ahead Licorice has been able to get, grabbing those turret plates as well as about a 20 CS advantage for himself. And he's kind of the X factor for this game. Find clean engages into this pretty squishy backline on the side of PSG. Yes, you have the Ksante, but he's really the only member who has any significant durability.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll say is Golden Guardian's comp is dive, right?
Yeah.
It's very straightforward. Sett's ultimate, really good at closing the gap. Kaisa ultimate, Ahri ultimate, Viego ultimate, Kennen, you get the point, right? Whereas the game plan for PSG is, can you survive that initial dive? If you can, if you leverage some of your mobility, some of your stalls, some of your disengage, and you're able to weather that initial burst, then there's definitely room for PSG to turn the fight around in their favor, leverage some of their range, leverage some of their poke. But it all comes down to where that initial kill comes from. If Viego gets that initial pick, if Kaisa gets access to the back line, like, you can see how easy Golden Guardians can run away with the fight.
Keep it simple, Sett. Just follow the all-in, find out whether or not the shotgun fire will actually secure the kill. But I also think I want to keep an eye on whether or not Licorice will be able to find those angles of entry, because the last time that he did play the Kennen, was able to have significant impact with that slicing maelstrom. There's only one tower down, right? So we haven't really moved into this phase where you're pushing into enemy territory, trying to use this vision right now. Wako and Woody just waiting, hoping wherever Huhi step forward. And for PSG, they're going to feel pretty comfortable so far.
Yeah, I really like this lane setup for the side of PSG. You go 1-3-1 right now, and even though the Ahri is a bigger threat than ubao in the side lane, you also stop Golden Guardians from being able to pressure the mid lane turret by having the Ezreal there and forcing the Kaisa to match him mid lane. This is where you had prio your entire game. You're going to keep that now in mid lane and keep that turret up as the third dragon spawns, making sure Golden Guardians could not drop that one before this third dragon comes up. Means that they won't have as much mid prio as they thought they might have if they had kept the standard lane assignment.
While that's all very smart and very well explained, Mark, I'd really like them to stop punching each other in the face.
Vedius requires bloodshed.
Okay, Vedi. 20 seconds until the next dragon. 4 members of Golden Guardians grouped up towards
nice.
the mid lane.
Licorice has made his way down.
No teleport for
also there. We've got 5 people, Trevor.
5v5.
We can count.
Vision is a little stronger there for PSG, just behind the Dragon Pit. Thank you to the observers for the toggle. But it is the Guardians inside the river first. So PSG have to step a little bit into that darkness. No TP available just yet. And Dragon has been started there, Betty.
Oh boy, you guys aren't ready for this. You guys aren't ready for the trade mid lane.
This is just pure concession right now. JunJia will fire out those missiles for now. Dragon soloed by River. Tower just about to fall. Frozen Tomb forward. Gori is in trouble, forced to flash. Spirit rushes away. The shield is huge for Huhi, and the slicing maelstrom gets another kill for the Golden Guardians. That's a follow back, as well as Wako's got a second. And now the third of the fight goes to the Guardians. It's a slightly chaotic start. 2 for 1 in favor of the Guardians.
What looked like a great play out of PSG to just sack Dragon, force mid, get the turret, and keep scaling. They get baited into going on to Gori. They will actually finish that turret off, but a nice fight out of the Golden Guardians will allow them to even out the mid lane turrets there.
I mean, it's literally a fight on 3 different fronts as River, Tower, and the flank over the wall. Dragon was secured by the Guardians. The tower goes to PSG. So net positive, you have to feel a little bit more LCS favored?
It still feels good for both teams. I think at the end of the day, Golden Guardian stops the Dragon stacking out of PSG. They're able to grab the mid lane turret. They win a fight. But at the same time, PSG did not lose too much. Initially, it looks like a clean pickoff potentially onto Gori with this flash ult combo, the Everfrost to follow up on the tail end of it. He's going to be locked in place for a long time, but just barely able to get out of there before the Kha'Zix showed up for the isolation damage. Huhi kind of giving his life up and landing a ton of damage there for the rest of the team, giving Licorice the potential setup. You see how annoying Exhaust is for the Kennen here. And it looked like it was going to be a very clean fight there, but you know, at the end of the day, PSG still had the Ezreal left up at the end of the fight to grab that turret on the tail end.
Yeah, I think that PSG walk away knowing that they got another kill into their Ezreal, and he's scaling it very nicely, but the fact that Golden Guardians were able to find a great fight just goes to show that when PSG are the initiators, that's actually a worse position for them to be in, because it makes it so much easier for Golden Guardians to actually get that re-engage. Oh, you want to actually engage onto my Sett? Cool, that then gives my Sett an engage onto you, and then the Kennen gets a very easy follow-up. Did, of course, commit Licorice's flash in that exchange, so Golden Guardians likely going to want that back up before they force another fight. But overall, Golden Guardians showcasing the power of their 5 versus 5, and something that PSG will have to be cautious of as they move forward in this game.
And we're definitely talking PSG like they have this massive scaling advantage. To be fair, it's not huge. Obviously,
yeah,
Kaisa
exactly.
does scale well. Both mid laners are more utility setup, pick focused, skirmishy junglers, team fighting topsides, and a lot of it is going to be about execution. Does Golden Guardians get this engage cleanly, or is Wako going to survive it and then be able to pelt them from the outside of the fight?
What will be also very valuable is to get a better look at sort of late game decision making, macro around the map. We haven't had a sort of game state for either of these squads here at MSI. that's played out this way. We've seen both of them have impactful early games. They were very respectful, very hesitant. And now with the second tower falling for Golden Guardians, the map will be a little bit wider, a little bit more open, which I think, in theory, could potentially open up some possibilities for PSG. If you look at the likes of the Kha'Zix or the Ezreal in mobility, potentially looking for picks.
Going big picture, looking at the rest of the series based off game one, this is why people were kind of debating, is it PSG or Golden Guardians who are going to get the last slot coming into this event? And then it kind of swung Golden Guardians' way as we see pick-off potential.
There's a hop over the wall, immediate flash there, and River has escaped with his life. Very good reaction time. Gori, Spirit rushes forward. The charm connects onto Woody, but there's no follow-up just yet. And all of a sudden, it fizzles once more. Looking for those picks, but there's just not enough to stick it.
A little over-ambitious there from Gori. Does connect the charm, but onto Woody, and it was very difficult for the rest of Golden Guardians to follow up. That's an ultimate down now with the Dragon spawning in about a minute and a half. You should have that back in time. A lot of fighting over the river between two teams. That is not intended to be a pun. But
It's very difficult.
It's a difficult one when PSG are actually so very good at controlling the space and making it difficult for their opposition to access these neutral objectives.
I mean, both top laners also have that teleport available. They were trading in the bottom lane. Still a significant advantage there for Licorice as he's pushing the way forward, but has he stuck around just a little too long? Void Assault is available for JunJia. Licorice will use that belt, dash a little forward, all out, gets knocked into the wall, may be able to pick up the solo kill before JunJia can arrive, and it will be bounced back 1-for-1 in the bottom lane.
Nice trade there by Licorice after getting collapsed on top of finishing off Aja before JunJia could get in range.
Here's the claw, will put some distance away. Beautiful charm, instantly cleansed. Foxfire is out, and River can't connect with the CC, so ubao escapes for now.
No flash for River. The fact that was forced out in the previous pickoff attempt by TSG might have just saved ubao's life there. Otherwise, you have to imagine River would have flashed with a stun there, maybe forced ubao's flash out as well. Instead, everyone disengages.
How much faith do you have in Golden Guardians' late game as we're ramping up to these very 2, 3, 4 item team fights?
I'm relatively confident in it. Golden Guardians is a well-rounded team in the sense that they have a lot of people who can carry. As you see Licorice getting this 1-for-1 here. They have interesting drafts and generally good team fighting. But I think that's also PSG's strength. They have seemed to get better the longer these games go on, both domestically and in this tournament. So it is definitely going into the wheelhouse of what PSG feels comfortable doing.
Now, Dragon has been started by PSG. I saw in-game Licorice pinging his ultimate, still about 20 seconds away, but Golden Guardians making the choice to force the Baron. PSG recognize that this is happening and they're looking to try and respond. JunJia has now arrived, and this will actually force PSG off the neutral. They know that Aja doesn't have the teleport, so they're not going to take the gamble and have him solo it.
For the fight, charm was a little short. Flank potential is there for Huhi, trying to find that angle while JunJia's on the Dragon.
I do think that you could just send Wako there, though. If you're really that concerned, he does still have the TP. Ezreal shouldn't have an issue when it comes to soloing this. As GG look for a fight.
Here comes River, caught Azhi, gets shield punched, and ubao steps out. Not the right engage, not the right grouping. So Dragon number 3 goes the way of PSG. Golden Guardians straight back to Baron.
Yeah, Golden Guardians trying to bait PSG off the Dragon initially while waiting for Licorice's ult to come off cooldown, but PSG initially reacts, then goes mid lane, leaves 4 there, leaks out JunJia, a very strong champion for soloing down the Dragon. Grabbed that one very easily, and PSG have continued their Dragon stacking ways. That's something they love doing.
Huhi's looking for that flank. Still has the showstopper. JunJia backwards. Claw goes out. Team starting to trade sides. PSG pushing towards the middle lane. And some of this indecision or inability to get onto PSG may cause a problem for the Golden Guardians.
I mean, Golden Guardians are scrambling right now. They're really trying to find a fight, and PSG are just not giving it to them. If you want to credit PSG for anything, it is their ability to stall. They're a team that is great at playing patiently, and they won't feel the need to overforce anything. Golden Guardians have lost their window to really force that Baron. And now, as PSG get that push in.
He's still there, by the way.
Oh,
Huhi's still there. The showstopper comes out, but Licorice is too far away. Huhi gets enough shield to survive for now. And the potential was available. Forces the flash out of Huhi. Licorice was too far away. Huhi had an opportunity. I mean, Vedi, help me understand here. Is this good macro is this? Like, because I can't quite get a grasp on how I feel about this very pensive play.
Basically, Golden Guardians were late in terms of the Dragon setup. The fact that PSG had started it first, Golden Guardians then said, well, we need to use the Baron to either force PSG to come and fight us, or we need to use it to commit this Baron down. They weren't expecting, I think, PSG to just immediately sack the Dragon and then come and contest them. So in a 5v5 mid, they tried to find the fight, but this is something we were talking about earlier. PSG have great range and poke that they can keep leveraging.
Oh my word, they've managed to find a pick onto JunJia, who just waltzed into the river. River goes forward once again. That burst damage is massive. The resets are so valuable. And now with 2 kills secured, Golden Guardians considering that Baron.
Heads up play by River there, never actually resetting, staying in there the entire time, finding the kill into JunJia, no jungler. The follow-up onto Wako means this is basically uncontestable by PSG. Massive play by the mid-jungle combo of Golden Guardians.
And after 25 minutes of very defensive play, that one decision to not recall, to not back, maybe lulling PSG into a sense of security, they just walked into the river and got jumped on.
Yeah, River's positioning was something that PSG were not expecting at all. JunJia is not on a champion that can easily face check, and Golden Guardians convert that into a Baron. They must have felt very frustrated after the last play, not being able to find a good fight, losing their flash onto Huhi. The fact that River was able to make his way in here and that Gori was able to quickly follow up, look, no hesitation there. The flash from him, Stixxay committing the ultimate as well.
Oh, the
and
shift
this commitment
forward.
here, oh, River, of course, commits the flash as well into the isolation Q damage from his own jungler. Licorice now in a bit of danger.
Little bit. Throws out the ultimate. 2 members on him for now. Slicing Maelstrom's done a lot already. As Azhi gets the kill. He's made it out for now. Charm, fantastic. Wako is now running for his life. Exhaust will buy some time. River steps forward with that Heartbreaker and continuing to chase. The tower still standing. 26 minutes in with Baron empowered minions. 4 members of Golden Guardians will secure the tower. And PSG are low. They're going to be forced to reset, get back to base. And with the minion line still there, Golden Guardians could look for another.
Nice pick off by PSG there, but not healthy enough on the tail end of it to actually defend the push quite yet. 4v5, they're still going in. Licorice is up in 20. Will have TP when he rises.
Hex Flash is available for Huhi. Ultimate is available as well. With that cannon minion there starting to chip away, they're looking for it. JunJia's going to make his way out of the base. He's on the steps for now. That's the engage. Pulled forward. Showstopper down. Oh, she's pushed backwards. Gori's trying to get the damage out, but too many members of PSG stepping forward. Stixxay manages to take him down with the Acathian Rain. The minions have been cleared out, so the tower still stands. Another pick. After 25 minutes of defensive play, now Golden Guardians are building up the tempo and throwing themselves at PSG.
Looks scary for a second there. Azhi with the 3-man Q knocked backwards, but it baits Wako into his second mispositioning in the late game here again, stepping too far forward. Stixxay's Q finishing him off. During that time, Licorice as well, trying to get the mid lane turret down, but Golden Guardians make good use of this Baron buff, growing up to a 6,000 gold lead, a 4,000 gold power play on the tail end.
I think the Golden Guardians are really good at pushing their advantage when they've gotten it. And I think that the fact that they were able to find a tier 2 tower on the bot, huge credit to them. The Dragon spawns in 30 seconds. They know they need to reset for this objective. Otherwise, it could be a solve for PSG and a way back for them into this game.
Plus 3,500 gold here for the Red Bull Baron power play. And looking at JunJia on this Kha'Zix, I haven't seen the impact on the game. By contrast, like River's Viego in the fights, having a big impact with that ult with the resets. And I just think now, as PSG are starting to fall behind, if you pushed further and further back, it may be a little more challenging. If you look at the minimap though, multiple members of PSG, they're pushing that top lane. I don't think this little experiment has worked out. The tower is going to fall. Nobody from PSG is in base to defend just yet. The inhibitor is just going to be completely conceded.
Really nice bluff call by Golden Guardians there. I think PSG is assuming that they're just going to use the tail end of their Baron buff to get prio in order to go to the Dragon. Yep. And PSG's like, great, we'll flip side to the top side of the map because we can sack a Dragon. Golden Guardians just say, nah, we're using the end of this Baron to get mid inhib.
Really great awareness there from Golden Guardians. They find themselves another advantage. They will secure the Dragon as well, sub 30 minutes. And it's the Guardians that have firm control over this game. A slow back and forth in the early game, but I think this is where Golden Guardians look the most comfortable, and that may seem like a silly thing to say. When a team is ahead, they look good. But I think the Golden Guardians have, one of the things I felt that we saw in their finals against Cloud9 was that they could get these leads, but sometimes it could be challenging for them to consistently close those leads out. And I think that throughout this tournament especially, we've seen them grow and develop in terms of that mid-game control. And it was even Licorice saying in an interview that as long as they can get that early game better under control, then they believe in their ability to close out in the mid to late game. And right now, their setup around Baron is good. You imagine that the next play is keep control of a mid, push out top, get control of a top side vision, and then start playing towards this Baron. Ideally, they want to find a pick, and they don't want to go for a gamble 50-50, especially against a champion like Kha'Zix.
I mean, both of the picks that have led to the big advantages here for the Golden Guardians have come from what felt like a bit of a surprise to PSG. That River pick where he delayed his back, the Baron push, catching PSG off guard. Either very, very good calls here from Golden Guardians kind of in the heads, or surprising PSG, or maybe PSG just a little bit rattled. Because right now they're being pushed back. You can see this potential setup, a minute 20 for Baron, so wards being established, and they will be able to use that objective to bait them back.
And this is just perfect setup from Golden Guardians right now. Ideally, they need to get bot under control a little bit. They could send Gori to go and catch that wave, knowing that he does have TP. But right now, their priority is playing through 2 lanes. They're keeping mid pushed in, they're keeping top pushed in, and they're remaining in the top side jungle looking for picks, seeing if anyone from PSG oversteps. You'll see Huhi has just done a reset. He's picked himself up more wards. And Golden Guardians in firm control around this Baron. Now, they just need to not throw it away.
Thanks for the caster curse, Vedius. I appreciate it. Licorice just got his TP back up in a couple of seconds here, so that's why he had been grouped up with the team. Baron wasn't up yet either. Now that it's 30 seconds towards Baron, his TP is almost up. He's going to start pressuring down this bot side, try and pull PSG a little bit apart here. Nice ward clearing on the side of Golden Guardians, making use of that Umbral Glaive out of JunJia. It's very hard to keep wards up if you're not actively defending them on the side of Golden Guardians.
Yeah, because PSG now have to use their turn to try and re-clear some of that vision, especially with Licorice investing time down towards the bot side of the map. He's now gotten that initial push in. Now he's looked to regroup with the team. And now that PSG don't have any wards left, this is Golden Guardians' opportunity to clear out all of that vision and can make it completely dark on the top side of the map.
Does feel like Gori and River have been the 2 key playmakers for Golden Guardians. Worth noting that both of them spent time in the PCS, time with PSG. The ones that got away, getting the leads for Golden Guardians here.
I mean, Gori's still deathless on this Ahri. 3rd game in MSI. Baron is pulling PSG towards Golden Guardians. Huhi, flashes available. Showstopper's up as well. He's managed to find unique angles to engage, but this time around, PSG aware. They've split themselves up. They've got very good defensive vision, and the objective has not yet been started.
Now, I will say Golden Guardians have conceded a lot more space, and I don't love this Baron because of how much of a flip they're creating. There is still a control ward in the back of the pit. JunJia has clear access for a steal.
It's going pretty low, 6,000 hit points. Flash as well as Maelstrom is available. Teleport coming in for Licorice from behind. Wako and JunJia, the 2 targets, but it's Wako that's taken down. Licorice gets the kill. ubao's now being running back, retreating for his life. PSG surprised once more.
Nice flank there, finding the kill into Wako, but he's the only one that dropped, and it cost them 3 ultimates to make it happen. Not sure if Golden Guardians want to restart onto this Baron without many tools to actually lock down JunJia. They're going to go for it, bring them back in. PSG moving into contest.
Showstopper's still up for Huhi. He maybe need to use that, get rid of the jungler. Turns his attention to Woody, pulled out of the pit. 5 members of Guardians. 17 seconds for Wako. Teleport is available. He's also got that true shot barrage. Baron is now down 4,000, 3,000. The claw goes forward. 1,000. Baron secured by Golden Guardians. Huhi engages, catches Woody, and JunJia is burnt down, running away once more. Oh, she's the next target. Teleport's coming forward. Wako, can he finish this off for PSG? Is it too little or too late? River's going low. Heartbreaker's out. Woody's now going to fall, and Wako's running for his life. JunJia throws out those missiles, hops over the wall with the arcane shift. Heartbreaker once more. River's dropped, and Wako will be the final kill. Huhi steps forward and punches him in the face. 1 last kill for Golden Guardians, and the ace. They turn their attention to the Nexus.
5 for 2, victory for Golden Guardians. A mid-wave already shoving in after grabbing that inhibitor turret. The teleport's going to come in to try and end this game.
A beautiful fight from PSG as they fall short to Golden Guardians. It looked like a good opportunity. It looked like it could have gone so heavily in PSG's favor, but Golden Guardians stamped their authority. They stamped their victory, and they're looking to go 1-up in this series.
Golden Guardians pick up the first win, the best of 5. 1 step closer to that bracket stage. And I'm going to be honest, that was an interesting game to watch. That final fight, had Wako had arrived a couple seconds earlier, may have been able to have more of an impact, but definitely not what I was expecting, definitely not the tempo that I was anticipating, And the way that it ended with so many of those unique approaches to the teleports and plays, I want to see what PSG do as a reply.
I mean, I think the Golden Guardians, in terms of draft, got everything that they wanted.
Yeah.
I think that they played the fights very well, and huge credit. They've had some great teleport flanks. Licorice, once again,